Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason. I'm speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. And in this video, I am continuing my list of top 20 favorite movies of the 1950s. I've already done number 20 through number 11. So now I'm getting to the top 10, in my opinion, I think the best movies of that decade. So I'm going to go through number 10 through number 6 on my list. Number 10, we have a courtroom drama called Anatomy of a Murder from 1959. This is directed by Otto Preminger, stars Jimmy Stewart, Lee Remick, Ben Gazzara, George C. Scott, and Arthur O'Connell. Really good cast. Like I said, it's nice, or it's really, if you like courtroom dramas, this is one of the best ones, I think, with Jimmy Stewart playing the lead. He's the defending lawyer of a military man who killed another man for raping his wife, played by Lee Remick. And so he's defending Ben Gazzara, who's the military guy, while George C. Scott is the prosecuting lawyer. Anyways, and so we got this really great back and forth between the two. The main character, the guy on trial, he did murder this guy, but I guess the question is, was he, after he hears his wife got raped, he went to a blind rage. And I think the idea is that, is it okay, or is it acceptable that he wasn't in the right mind when he killed, I don't know, something like that. So interesting case. Great back and forth between Jimmy Stewart and George C. Scott. I mean, you're talking about two amazing actors, just going back and forth, and two different personalities. Of course, Jimmy Stewart's kind of the more likable, laid-back country lawyer who is very successful. He's very charismatic. He's funny, very good at his job. But then you got George C. Scott, who's like the state lawyer, who's a little more serious, but very smart and very good at prosecuting, and not likable and all that. Anyway, so great performances there. Interesting, it was like a really controversial film for the time because they're talking about a rape case. This is 1959. It's pretty risque kind of topic to talk about. They even talk about her panties at one point. There's this whole part where the judge talks about, anyway, that's kind of a weird part where they talk about her panties and stuff like that. And that was very, you don't talk about women's panties in movies. And so that was very like, whoa, like that was shocking to talk about. And all this stuff, and talking about that kind of a serious case. Anyway, so a lot of people were turned off by this movie at the time when it came out. Interesting, because now it's nothing, of course. But it was a very popular movie, did very well. It was nominated for 7 Oscars, didn't win any of them, but for good reason. It was going up against Ben-Hur that year, and Ben-Hur won 11 Oscars, so nobody was beating Ben-Hur for any of the Oscars. But, I mean, 7 Oscar nominations, really good. Nominated for Best Actor. Jimmy Stewart's his last Oscar nomination for Best Actor. Of course, Best Picture nominee. Arthur O'Connell, who plays, I think, a lawyer, also got nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Anyway, so lots of Oscar nominations. Really solid courtroom drama, Anatomy of a Murder. At number 9, I have biblical epic movie, The 10 Commandments. Came out in 1956. Probably the most well-known story dealing with Moses, even today. I don't think we've gotten a better movie about Moses. Of course, we've got Charlton Heston playing Moses, one of his most iconic roles he's ever played, and kind of the first real iconic role that he played, and really put his name on the map as one of the big actors of that decade and into the next decade. Cecil B. DeMille directed the movie. I mentioned him before. He directed The Greatest Show on Earth that I mentioned that came at number 14 on my list. That also starred Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston's like first movie. So obviously Cecil B. DeMille liked his performance so much that he cast him as this huge role, Moses, in this really big epic movie. We have Yul Brynner, great performance playing Pharaoh, the bad guy, kind of the Pharaoh Ramses. We got Ann Baxter as a romantic lead, and Edward G. Robinson as kind of this not really good guy, kind of a jerk. But I guess he's Jewish, but he's kind of someone in control. Of course, the Ten Commandments from the Bible, talking about the story of Moses. There's whole, of course, you have to, if you don't know, I mean, I suggest you read the book of Genesis. Great, great story about, God's chosen people, the Jews, being enslaved by the Egyptians, and Moses, who is Jewish, gets raised by Egyptians, and then he leaves, and then he comes. God tells him in a burning bush to go back and free his people from slavery, and then we have the 10 plagues, and you know, we have the Passover. I mean, so many important moments happen in the story. Um, if you're a Christian, important events in the Bible, and they are done very, very well. And I said, great performances from Charlton Heston and Yul Brynner, especially. Love their back and forth. Do a great job. Interesting story, kind of about the Ten Commandments. Like I said, in I don't know, I think I told the story in The Greatest Show on Earth. Charlton Heston got hired by the studio, and he was walking, and he saw Cecil B. DeMille, and he waved at him and smiled and said hi. And Cecil B. DeMille didn't know who he was, and said to this guy, like, "Who's that?" And he said, "Oh, that's Charlton Heston. We just hired him. He's an actor that we hired, and we signed him on a contract for the studio." And Cecil B. DeMille said, "Let's have him in the movie, The Greatest Show on Earth." Anyway, so it's kind of this almost accidental happenstance that if Charlton Heston didn't smile and say hello to Cecil B. DeMille, maybe he wouldn't have gotten that role. And because he got that role, he got cast in the Ten Commandments. So that definitely, it was like, so it's just like, just one of those things where it's a good thing to smile and say hi to people, because you never know what that'll do for your career, evidently, because who knows what would happen if he didn't get that role and he wouldn't have got the Ten Commandments. Would he have gotten Ben-Hur? So it's this whole domino effect. What would happen with his career? And would he be as big of an actor as he was if it wasn't for that happenstance with Cecil B. DeMille, who was a huge director, of course, at that time. And it's a huge, like I said, epic movie. It's one of those great epics. Great set directions. I think I read that it got nominated for lots of Oscars. It won Best Special Effects for good reason. I think for the Parting of the Sea is an amazing scene. The Red Sea, Moses puts out his hand and whatever, and God splits the sea so the Jews can go through it, and then goes back down on the Egyptians chasing them. Obviously iconic scene, really great. Special effects still work today. Like watching it, I just go, man, that's still pretty cool special effects. So one for that. Should have won best costuming, best set design. Charlton Heston should have got a nomination for best actor. Great, and Yul Brynner should have got nominated for supporting actor. So surprisingly, it didn't get all those. It didn't win any of those or get nominated. It got nominated for a lot of technical awards, like film editing, like I said, and all that. Surprisingly, it didn't win a whole bunch of Oscars because it's incredible on an epic scale. So many, like I said, of course, a lot of costuming, lots of there's animals, there's big sets, and there's lots of extras. Incredibly well directed movie. The Ten Commandments at number 9. Number 8 is a Christmas classic for me. It's called White Christmas. Came out in 1954. Directed by Michael Curtis, who is most well known for directing Casablanca. It stars Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, Vera Ellen, and also Dean Jagger. All great performances in this movie. It's a Christmas movie. It's a musical. It's a comedy. It's one of those movies that I just watch every Christmas and absolutely love it. And I've seen it a million times. Still love watching this movie. I love Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye. They have really great chemistry together. Absolutely hilarious back and forth. Especially with Danny Kaye. Danny Kaye is absolutely hilarious in this movie. One of my favorite performances comedically. Danny Kaye is so good and so likable and charismatic. While Bing Crosby is kind of the old curmudgeon, Danny Kaye tries to bring him out of that. Love that about it. Also, of course, White Christmas, one of my favorite Christmas songs. Bing Crosby actually sang the song for another movie called Holiday Inn. With Rogers, or Fred Astaire, sorry. I'm thinking Fred Rogers, maybe. With Fred Astaire and Bing Crosby, they did Holiday Inn, and he sang that song. White Christmas was like the most popular song for decades. It was like the biggest selling song. So that's why good idea, make a whole movie based off the song. But it's a great script and it absolutely works. Music is amazing. Like I said, White Christmas is great. I love this, the snow, snow, snow. Talking about being, they can't wait to go to Vermont where they think it's going to be snow. Um, and then there's some great these great dance singing numbers with great sets and costumes, um, and all those musical numbers are really fun to watch. Uh, that's my favorite part of it. I think is those dance numbers. I mean, absolutely amazing. Vera Ellen is an amazing dancer, and she has, if I may say, like the best legs I've ever seen in a movie. In those costumes, I mean, it's pretty delight to watch her dancing. But yeah, great performance from everybody. Hilarious, great music. Definitely Christmas classic, White Christmas. Number 8 on my list. Number 7 on my list, another kind of epic, biblical type movie. It's called The Robe. Came out in 1963, or, whoops, 1953. Hope I didn't get that wrong, because I put it in my 50s. I have to recheck that, but hopefully I got that right. We got Richard Burton, Gene Simmons, kind of the main leads here, and Victor Mature. I say my problem because I wrote down 1963 on here, but I'm talking about the 50s, so I must have been a typo. I'm hoping I didn't mess that up, and pretty sure it's a 50s movie. Anyways, The Robe. I'm just going back. I'm gonna go like it's a 50s movie. Hopefully I'm right. The Robe is this movie kind of right at Jesus' death, his crucifixion on the cross. Richard Burton plays a Roman tribune guard, whatever, who's in charge of the execution of Jesus. And so he witnesses Jesus' death. And afterwards, they kind of bet on his belongings and who gets the belongings. He wins and gets Jesus' robe. The robe, they put a robe on Jesus at one point. He gets that robe, anyways, but the robe almost kind of like haunts him. It gives him nightmares. It's really unsettling for him. And so he thinks it's like cursed or something. There's something supernatural about this robe that he got from that Jesus had. And so he thinks there's something about it. And so he goes to Judea, or he goes to seek, what it is about this robe that's, haunting him, and how he can get rid of it, and how he can get rid of this unsettling feeling inside of him, I guess. Get rid of this curse. Anyway, so he goes and he finds Peter, actually, one of Jesus' disciples, of course, one of the most well-known disciples. And he kind of learns about Christianity, because he's not a believer, of course. And he learns about Christianity and all this stuff. And, of course, he's very skeptical. But then kind of this supernatural almost kind of experience. Of course, it's not based on any true story or never happened. It's kind of fictional, based on true events. But then Peter kind of lifts that cursed feeling off of him and takes the robe, anyways. And so then he kind of basically converts to Christianity. He goes back to his position, and everybody's unbelievers and the Roman guards, and so then he's kind of, to be a Christian means he's going to be persecuted, and so should he risk being persecuted and being a Christian? But he's compelled to, and so then he gets persecuted, and I won't give away the ending, but still a very uplifting ending, and especially as a Christian, very uplifting spiritually, I think. Even though this is a Hollywood movie, Richard Burton probably not a Christian in real life. A lot of these people aren't. But yeah, at that time period, I love that in the 50s, we can still talk about religion and Christianity in a positive manner. So I love that. It's very positive towards Christianity and Jesus and all that. Anyways, and the fact that he becomes a Christian at the end is very, is really nice. I like that part of the movie, anyways. And it's a good, really big epic, lots of costumes, extras. Very excellent movie. I think it's the first Technicolor movie or something like that. It has like some pretty big significance there, anyway. So that's number 7, The Robe. And then the last movie I'm going to talk about is number 6 is The Quiet Man. Came out in 1952. John Ford film starring John Wayne. unlike a lot of John Wayne movies, it's kind of he usually does the westerns or the war movies. This is actually a romantic comedy. He does with Maureen O'Hara. And John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara have such great chemistry that it's kind of a romance between them two. John Wayne is an American, has Irish roots. He's a boxer, but he accidentally kills a man in the ring. So he quits boxing and he decides to go to Ireland and live in Ireland, where I guess he's originally from. And while he's there, he meets Maureen O'Hara and falls in love with her and wants to marry her. But her older brother, played by Victor McLaglen, who's in charge of her dowry, which is like money she gets when she gets married, he won't accept the marriage unless John Wayne's character will fist fight him, because Victor McLaglen's like the town bully. He's like a big guy who you don't mess with, and he loves to fight. He loves to drink and loves to fight. Of course, they're in Ireland, so yeah, that fits, huh? The stereotype of Irish people. And so John Wayne, though, won't fight him because of his whole background with boxing. He wants to get away from that. But then Maureen O'Hara won't respect him unless he fights her brother. So it's this odd kind of plot, but yet very funny movie. Like I said, the romance works so well between John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara, who's absolutely beautiful. That great red hair. Great supporting actors. Barry Fitzgerald, Ward Bond. Like I said, Victor McLaglen's really great. Got 7 Oscar nominations for Best Picture. John Ford won his 4th Best Directing Oscar, only director to win 4 directing Oscars. So this is 4th and last one that he won. Victor McLaglen got nominated for Best Supporting Actor in his role. Anyways, and it won, I believe, cinematography, which makes sense because I love the scenery of this movie because it was really shot in Ireland, and Maureen O'Hara is really from Ireland, and I love the Irish landscape of the green rolling hills and the stone walls that go, and there's, livestock, roaming around, and just beautiful, beautiful scenery. It makes you want to go to Ireland. In fact, I think you can go to Ireland and see the set or see where this movie was shot, which I always thought would be very fun to go see kind of where this movie was shot in Ireland, be absolutely beautiful. But yeah, number 6, yeah, definitely one of my favorite John Wayne movies. John Wayne's one of my favorite actors. Usually, like I said, great in westerns, but really good in and he's done a couple like McClintock and so forth. He does actually pretty good in some of these romantic comedies like this, and yeah, definitely one to check out. If you don't see a lot of John Wayne movies, I think definitely check this one out. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised. And there's a big fight scene at the end. I'll spoil it a little bit. John Wayne and Victor McLaglen's characters actually finally get into a fight at the end. And I know for a long time, I don't know if it's still, maybe it's not anymore, but I know for a long time it was the longest fight scene ever filmed. Like the fight scene takes over a long period of time. Because the whole movie builds up to this big fist fight between the two characters. And anyways, and it's absolutely hilarious. Everybody's betting on the fight. I mean, amazing scene. Yeah, definitely one I have to highly recommend. Anyway, so that's Quiet Man at number 6 on my list. So that's my 10 through 6. So now I'm getting to my top 5. Next time I cover this, cover my top 5 favorite movies, 1950s, which again are some of my favorite movies of all time. Anytime I get to my top 5 in any decade, it's always amazing movies. So I'm be excited to talk about those. So please comment on what you think about these movies, if you like them or if you've seen them. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching the video and for liking it, and thanks to all the subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate all of you, and have a good day.